This video is on graphing quadratics without a calculator. I am going to be going pretty quickly. Feel free to pause or go back and listen to something again anytime you need it, because I will be moving at a quick pace. Vertex form is y equals ax minus h squared plus k. The vertex is h and k from those two spots. The axis of symmetry is x equals h, because the axis of symmetry is going to be a vertical line, and vertical lines have the equations x equals. Another formula is x equals negative b over 2a is another way to get the axis of symmetry. If your a value, that's the number in front, if your a value is positive, that makes the parabola open up, which gives it a minimum value. If a is negative, it makes it open down, which gives it a maximum value. And that is your k. So the max value, if it's only looking for one value, it's looking for k, which is the y value. All right, so f of x equals x squared is called the parent graph. Its vertex is 0, 0, and there's a pattern for how the points on the parabola will be. You go up 1, right 1, up 3, right 1, up 5, right 1. So up 1 over 1, up 3 over 1, up 5 over 1. And that's what the parabola looks like when it's just x squared. All right, so let's look at some more examples. Here your a value is 1, so the number in front is 1. Your vertex is positive 1, positive 4. The number from the parentheses, you do the opposite, so positive 1, positive 4. Your h value is 1. This is h and k, and the k value is 4. So if you plot 1, 4 on a graph, you go over 1, up 4. This was the original graph. It started at 0, 0. Well, if I'm going to 1, 4, I'm moving right 1 and up 4. From here, I'm going to do the pattern I was talking about. Up 1, over 1, up 3, over 1. And then you do the same thing on the other side. Up 1, left 1, up 3, over 1. If you draw in the axis of symmetry, it's x equals 1 is the equation for that. All right, number 2, your a value is also 1. The vertex is negative 2, negative 2. And your h is negative 2 and your k is negative 2. This is h and k. That's going to make it move left 2 and down 2. So you go left 2, down 2, there's your vertex, and then you do your pattern. Up 1, over 1, up 3, over 1, up 5, over 1. And then the opposite on the other side. All right, if you draw in your axis of symmetry, it is at x equals negative 2. All right. Here again, your a value is 1, your vertex is positive 3, 0. Imagine there's a plus 0 back there. So your h is 3, your k is 0. If h is 3, that moves it to the right 3. Notice that h moves it right or left every time. Since k is 0, it doesn't move it at all. So you go to the point 3, 0. Then you go up 1 over 1, up 3 over 1, up 5 over 1. And if you draw in your axis of symmetry, it's at x equals 3. All right, so what happens if we change the a value? Well, that's going to multiply the vertical, the up-down parent pattern by a. You're going to be multiplying by a. A negative a value results in a reflection over the x-axis. We kind of already talked about that. If the a is greater than 1, the graph will have a vertical stretch. And when you stretch something, it actually makes it narrow. All right. right, so let's do an example. So for number 1, your A value is 2, and your vertex is 0, 0. You could put in an imaginary set of parentheses, plus 0, plus 0. So your vertex is 0, 0. All right, so before our pattern was 1, 3, 5. Well, if your A value is anything but 1, you have to multiply it by the A value. So this becomes 2, 6, and 10. And then these are all still going to be 1s. So you're at 0, 0. And you're going to go up because they're all positive. So you're going to go up 2 over 1, and then up 6 over 1. And see how we have a narrow parabola? All right, number 2, your A value is 3. That's the number in front. Vertex is 0, 0. So we have 1, 3, 5, 1, 1, 1. But you need to multiply all of these by A. So you multiply them all by 3. So 3, 9, and 15. And so my vertex is 0, 0. Put a point at 0, 0. I'm going to go up 3, right 1, and then up 9 over 1. So that one is even narrower. All right, number 3, your A value is negative 2. Vertex is 0, 0. So we have 1, 3, 5, 1, 1, 1. And we're going to multiply all those by negative 2. So I get negative 2, negative 6, negative 10. All right, so you put a point at 0, 0. And this time we're going to go down. Well, we know it's going to open down because there was a negative. And so we're going to go down 2, right 1, down 6. So there we go. All right, if A is between 0 and 1, then the graph will have a vertical shrink, and it will be wider than the parent graph. All right, so here your A value is 1/2. Vertex is 0, 0, so 1, 3, 5, 1, 1, 1. And so you're multiplying these by 1/2. So you get 1/2, you get 1.5 and 2.5. So my vertex is 0, 0. So I'm going to go up 1/2 over 1, and then up 1.5 over 1. Up 2.5 over 1. And you see how this graph is slightly larger than the other ones. All right, number 5, your A value is 1/4, vertex at 0, 0. So it's going to be 1 times 1/4, 3 times 1/4, and 5 times 1/4. 1, 1, 1. So 1/4, 3/4, 5/4. So my vertex is 0, 0. So I'll go up 1/4 over 1, up 3/4 over 1, and up 5/4 over 1. All right, and that one's even larger. Number 6, your A value is negative 1/2, so you know that it's going to open down. So if I multiply 1, 3, and 5 by negative 1/2, you get negative 1/2, negative 1.5, negative 2.5, and all those are 1s. So 0, 0, down 1/2 over 1, down 1.5 over 1, down 2.5 over 1. All right, flip it over. All right, putting it all together. So here your A value is 1/2. Your vertex is negative 4, 0. So we already know that it's going to be 1/2, 1.5, 2.5, 1, 1, 1. So I start at negative 4, 0. Negative 4, 0. Go up 1/2 over 1, up 1.5 over 1, up 2.5 over 1. Okay. Number 2, your A value is 2, your vertex is 1, 1. And so this is going to be 2, 6, and 10. Remember, I'm just multiplying 2 by 1, 2 by 3, 2 by 5, 1, 1, 1. So I go to 1, 1. And I'm going to go up 2 over 1, up 6 over 1, and it is narrow. It had a vertical stretch. All right, number 3, negative 1/2. Your vertex is negative 3, 0. This one's going to open down, negative 0.5, negative 1.5, negative 2.5. So I go to negative 3, 0, and go down 1/2 over 1, down 1.5 over 1, down 2.5 over 1. Okay. All right, number 4, your A value is negative 1. Your vertex is negative 2, 0. These are going to go down 1, 3, and 5. 1, 1, 1. So I go to negative 2, 0, down 1 over 1, down 3 over 1, down 5 over 1. Okay. Number 5, your A value is negative 3, your vertex is 4, negative 2. This is going to be negative 3, negative 9, negative 15, so it's going to go down as well. So go to 4, negative 2, down 3 over 1, down 3 over 1. The rest will be off the graph, and that one's pretty narrow. And number 6, 1/3, your vertex is negative 3, negative 5. So it's going to be 1/3, 1, and 5/3. So negative 3, negative 5, down 1/3 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 5/3 over 1. Okay. All right, so here is the summary. Your H value, that's the number in the parentheses. It moves it left and right. It moves it left and right, and it does the opposite. So if it's a minus sign, it's going to move it to the right. If it's a minus sign, it's going to move it to the right. If it's a plus sign, it's going to move it to the left, because when you pull the number out, you do the opposite. Your K value, that's the number at the end, it moves it up and down. And this one, it moves it up if there's a plus, it moves it down if there's a minus. You keep that one the same. All right? If your A value, that's the number in front, if your A value is positive, it's going to open up. If your A value is negative, it's going to make it reflect over the x-axis. If A is greater than 1, it stretches it. That makes it narrow. And if A is between 0 and 1, it makes it shrink, which it makes it wider. Okay? All right, so here's some things you need to know. Your vertex, negative 4, negative 2, you need to be able to tell me that automatically. You need to be able to tell me if that's a maximum or a minimum. Well, this one has a negative in front, so it opens down. So that gives me a maximum. All right, and you need to be able to list the transformations. We'll start with the negative. The negative makes it reflect over the x-axis. All right, now I'm going to cover the negative up. The 1/2, you could say it dilates by 1/2, or sometimes they call that compression. Okay, moving on. The number on the inside moves it left or right, and you do the opposite. So this one moves it left 4. And the number at the end moves it up or down, so this one moves it down 2. Keep that one the same. All right, and here's an example of a test question you might see. What does the 2 in front make it do? Well, you're multiplying by 2. So if you look at your answer choices, multiplying is going to be a dilation, and you're dilating by a factor of 2, so those match. This one is inside the parentheses. That moves it left or right, and you do the opposite. So plus 2 moves it to the left. So that matches with this top one. The negative in front makes it open down, which is a reflection over the x-axis. And the minus 2 at the end, that's always going to move it up or down, and you keep this one the same, so it moves it down 2. Moves it down 2.